Good morning, Hampton Roads, and welcome to Virginia's only local real estate investing podcast, where we get to talk about local investors, local deals, and all things local. I'm your host, the founder of the Master Investor Academy, and author of my best-selling book, Work Just Gets in the Way of Making Money, Scott Jelinek. How's everybody doing today? If you have any questions, comments, concerns, properties you'd like to sell, things you'd like to discuss, you can go ahead and text me at 757-699-4227. And as well as tomorrow and Sunday. Today is Friday. Tomorrow and Sunday, I am having a live in-person 2-day workshop. If you are local in the Hampton Roads area, go ahead and text me at 757-699-4227, and I will get you set up with registration. We still have one spot left. We're very small this time because of the governor's orders on gathering sizes. So it's going to be a very small event. We're going to go over everything you need to know about hitting the ground running for 2021, which is going to be a fantastic year in real estate investing. Before we get started, if you have not done so already, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you are on the podcast, if you can, leave me a rating and review. I greatly appreciate it. It helps me to get this out to more people. And also give me a thumbs up on the video just so I know that you're there and that you're watching. I appreciate it. So what I wanted to talk to you about today, I got an email from Josh. I'm sorry, it was a text yesterday from Josh asking how to structure an owner finance. He says, I'm buying it sub 2. How would he structure the sale of it? And so there are several different ways to structure the sale. And I thought that was a great topic to discuss today. Before we get into it, I want to clarify that I'm talking about disposition today. This is if you're selling the property that you bought sub 2. This is not the same as when we're buying a property with owner financing. We wouldn't do the same structure. So there's multiple different ways when you are selling a property that you bought sub 2. So we'll start off with the simple ones. If you want, the easiest of all is you have the option to, you're allowed to, if you're buying it sub 2, you're allowed to wholesale a sub 2, meaning if somebody had a property they agreed to sell me, and I'm just going to make up numbers and say they agreed to sell it to me for $100,000 and they're not behind on the mortgage, and say it's worth 120, 150 or 100, just say it's worth 100, it's worth what we paid for it. We can still wholesale it, meaning we can advertise it now at $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 down takeover payments. And at that time, if we found our buyer with that $20,000 down, we would then set up a closing, and our seller now would be selling directly to our buyer like a regular wholesale deal. The only difference is he's putting that down payment down. That's the money you're going to make. And now he's taking over the property subject to the existing financing. So that is one way. If you have not already closed on it and there wasn't a lot of equity and you wanted to, you can just assign it, much like a wholesale lease option. You can just assign it. Make your assignment fee. Usually it's $5, $10, $20,000, depending on the value and the price of the house, the price point of the house. You can make your down payment. It's quick, easy, painless. You're out of it with no money. Now you don't even have to pay closing costs. You're assigning it just like a regular wholesale deal. Another option is that you can owner finance it. You can do an actual owner financing. And we're going to clarify what I mean by actual and the other way that I do a lot of them. You can do an actual owner financing, meaning, again, we'll use those same numbers. Say it's worth 100 and say it's worth 150, but you're buying it sub 2 for 100. You can still sell it at that 150 and do actual owner financing, meaning you're going to have a closing at an attorney's office. They're going to write up a note and deed of trust for 30, I generally do 30 years. You'll get a down payment. You'll amortize it over the 30 years. There'll be a monthly payment that goes to you. Now you're going to collect that monthly payment and you're going to pay the existing one. Does that make sense to you? It's a wrap. So you're going to collect the monthly payment that your buyer is paying you every month. And now you're going to be paying the underlying mortgage, the one that you bought sub 2. All right. So I hope that makes sense to you. Then the next option would be the way I sell my slow flips would be to sell it on a land contract. I prefer this method, and I'll explain to you why. So when you sell on a land contract, it's very similar to you selling with owner financing. The difference is there's not going to be a closing. The paperwork is all done in-house. You can do it at your office. You can do it at Starbucks. You can do it at the house. So there is no closing, which eliminates that expense, $2,000, $3,000 if you take both sides. So it can be done immediately. There's no title search. There's no waiting for the lawyers. You can literally meet somebody today and they have the $10,000 down and do the paperwork today. There is no title transfer. So if they default, you don't have to go through a foreclosure process. Now, there's ways around that too. We're not going to discuss today, where you can have pocket deeds and such. But if somebody defaults, they have the deed in their name, so it's more challenging for you to take back possession. With a land contract, you never gave up possession. The deed is still in your name. So if they were to default, you can go through a regular process as if they were a tenant, a regular eviction process. So that's a big benefit. The other side is you can recycle them, meaning if somebody stayed 5 years and decided they wanted to leave, now, unlike if you wholesaled at sub 2, you're just completely out of it. And if that person ever defaulted, it's between them and the seller. You just got your assignment fee. With this structure, you're still involved. They're paying you every month. You're paying the mortgage every month. If 3 years from now, 5 years from now, the person defaulted, you still have that property now, and you can put somebody new in there, collect another $5,000 down or whatever it may be, and change the price. If property values were going up, you can adjust accordingly as well. So those are just 3 basic strategies that you can use if you bought a property sub 2 to dispose of them. There's also, you can always do regular lease options. You can also do regular rentals if you were into that. There's tons of different things you can do, but I wanted to touch on those 3 because I think they're the most prevalent. You can do an actual owner financing, you can do a land contract, or you can do the very first thing we talked about, which is just when you go ahead and wrap it. So there's 3 different strategies, or you can wholesale the lease option. I'm sorry, wholesale the sub 2. So, some people make their entire business wholesaling sub 2s, and there's nothing wrong with that, where you're basically marketing for properties that don't have enough equity to sell conventionally. You contract them, and now you market for buyers who want no credit check, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 down, and you connect the 2 and you make that fee. And you can make a great living just doing that business model. There are so many ways. This is what we were talking about the other day. There are so many ways to make money in real estate, but my whole focus is always to tell you to focus. It's come up with what strategy you love, what lights you up and what you want to do, and do that. There's a million ways to make $1 million. We always talk about that. Choose one. There's so many different strategies in real estate, but when people try and dabble in all of them, they do none of them well. I hope that makes sense to you. So pick which strategy you like. You can dabble them in the beginning and see which one resonates with you. But once you find what you like and what you want to do, then you say, I'm the guy who does that. This is what I do. And, it doesn't have to be any of the strategies I even teach. You pick what you like. There's so many strategies out there. You pick what you like, and then you focus on that, and you be the best at that one particular strategy. I hope this helps you guys. And thanks for texting me that question. If anybody else has any questions or even questions on what we've discussed, feel free to text me at 757-699-4227, and I would be happy to go over it with you and exchange some answers. And if you have any further questions, so we can get clarity for you, so you can proceed with this business and make 2021 your best year ever. It's all I got for you guys today. Do something today your future self is going to thank you for. Thank you for watching. If you have not done so already, click the like button on here just so that I know you're watching, because I appreciate it. It keeps me going every day to know that you're out there and you're watching and enjoying these. And I will speak to you on the next one. Have an absolutely